Hook. Sometimes, the quietest person in the room carries a storm inside them, and when that storm finally breaks, it changes everything. This is the story of a girl who was humiliated, underestimated, and pushed beyond her limits, a broken bar. But what happened next left her bullies begging for mercy. Stay with me till the end, because this is not just a story, it's a mirror of courage, self-respect, and the power hidden inside us all. The new girl's name was La, and from the very first day she entered Lincoln High, whispers followed her like shadows. She was different, and not in her looks, but in her presence. She didn't try to blend in, didn't giggle with groups in the cafeteria, and didn't chase attention the way so many others did. Her silence was unsettling to some, and unfortunately, in high school, anything different becomes a target. The bullies noticed her almost immediately. A group of loud, arrogant boys who thrived on mocking the weak set their sights on her. They had ruled the hallways for years, humiliating others without consequence. To them, Lil looked like the perfect victim, a quiet, shy, and alone. It started with whispers, snide remarks about her clothes, about her accent because Lil had just transferred from another city. Then it grew louder, more direct. They'd shove her books off her desk, trip her in the hallways, laugh when she picked up her things. But Lil never reacted. She kept her head down, her face calm. Some students mistook her silence for weakness. Others sensed something else, a broken bar, restrained, like she was holding back more than anyone could see. The turning point came one afternoon after school. Lil was heading to her locker when the boys cornered her. They laughed and taunted, closing in like wolves. One of them crossed the linea, grabbing her chest while the others cheered. It was supposed to humiliate her, break her, make her cry. But Lil didn't cry. Her eyes lifted for the first time, steady and sharp, meeting theirs with a fire none of them had ever seen. It was the moment the storm broke. Before the boys could laugh again, Lil moved, fast, unbelievably fast. Her hand shot up, twisting the wrist of the boy who had touched her, forcing him to his knees with a scream. Gasps erupted from the hallway as students turned to watch. The other boys lunged forward, but Lil was no longer the quiet, helpless girl they thought she was. A precise kick knocked one against the lockers. Another was flipped over with a sweep of her leg. Each movement was controlled, efficient, and powerful. She didn't just fight back, as she defended with purpose, as though she had been trained for this very moment. By the time it ended, the so-called untouchable bullies were sprawled on the floor, groaning, begging for her to stop. The hallway, once echoing with laughter, was now silent except for their whimpers. Lil stood tall, breathing steadily. She didn't shout, she didn't boast, she simply looked at them with the same calmness she had carried since day on year. But now, everyone understood, her silence was never weakness, it was strength restrained. Later, rumors spread like wildfire. Some said she was a martial arts champion. Others whispered she had been through things much harder than any of them could imagine, that her quietness wasn't shyness, but discipline. Teachers called her in, students stared at her with new eyes, and even those who had ignored her before now approached with respect. But Lil never craved their attention. What mattered was this: she had stood up for herself, and in doing so, she had shown everyone that dignity cannot be stolen. The bullies, they never dared touch anyone again. In fact, they avoided her altogether, their arrogance shattered. And as for the students who watched, many carried away something they'd never forget, that courage isn't about being the loudest or the strongest, it's about knowing when to rise, and refusing to be broken. Ending message, narrator's voice for YouTube. Closing. Remember, Thesa, every single one of us has a storm inside. You might be underestimated, mocked, even humiliated, but never mistake silence for weakness. The moment you decide to stand up for yourself, you rewrite the story. Lil did, and so can you.